multimedia artist. Like I really like all the things, the visuals, the performance of self, the performance of the live show, the music, you know, like when you meet me, like what do I smell like?
Hello, this is Jon ALi, and today we are on track with formerly Brooklyn-based, now Los Angeles-based, non-binary superstar CHAV.
You are so good at these things. You're so good. I want to be you when I grow up.
How has LA treated you so far?
LA has been really good. We've only been here for like a month, a little over a month and a half, I think. And it's been really crazy. Like I've been on tour right now with Dorian Electra and just finishing up my first project and working on the second project. So I haven't been really here, but like I'm excited for like after Pride. I feel like I'll be in LA and I'll ask me then.
Yes, yeah, no, because it's brand new.
Yeah,
but no, that's exciting. What was like the conscious decision where you were like, okay, I've had my time in Brooklyn, I'm going to LA?
Okay, I mean, New York was amazing for me. It was like amazing for my career. Like I learned so much about like, you know, I wasn't a musician when I first moved to New York. I was a dancer. I did a lot of other types of art. I did some photography back in the day. And New York just allowed me some space to be around a bunch of people, a lot of which were like singer-songwriters in the Rockwood, Bitter End scene. And yeah, so I learned a lot in New York. I think that making the decision to move to LA was just like it had reached a fever pitch. Like I had learned a lot, done a lot. The music was getting to a good point, and it just made the most sense to be in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're here. You're working.
Yes.
Touring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
but I mean, like New York was kind of, I guess, in a way, you could say it shaped you in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
But before Brooklyn was in the picture, where was it all happening?
Okay, I mean, I'm from South Bend, Indiana. It's where Pete Buttigieg is from.
Oh, wow.
Or like where he was mayor.
Got it. Yeah.
It's also the home of Notre Dame if you are a sports fan. If you fucking love sports like that.
I love the Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, and then I moved to Chicago. But I'm a good old Hoosier person.
Yeah.
Midwesterner.
Yeah. Are you an only child? Do you have siblings?
No, I'm the oldest of like 4. There's 4 of us.
Oh wow.
And then I'm like the oldest grandchild of like 25.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a big family.
So you were like the first of the herd.
I said, thank you so much. Call me queen. My first single on Spotify.
But how was life growing up there? Like, was it good? Was it bad? Was it okay?
I don't know. It was like, I mean, I think about like middle school, high school. That's like when you really start becoming like coherent person, like seeing what's up. And it was like very white, like super white where I grew up. Like I grew up very poor. We were in like this apartment complex, but where I lived was very close to this really like affluent like neighborhood.
Okay.
So they kind of shipped a lot of the people in this apartment complex I lived in, a lot of brown folks, Black, Latina, like into this high school. It's like the same high school that Jon ALi went to. It was like this designed by the same people who designed Columbine. It was huge, like 4,000, 5,000 kids. And I don't know, it was an interesting thing, like just being queer, Black, very like visible. Like I'm very similar to who I was during that time. Obviously I've gained some swag, I guess.
Some confidence, some more self-assurance.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But like I was still very much like an open creative in that way, and it was interesting. I feel like I started developing the persona of CHAV in high school, like where I just had to I learned how to be likable to people. I learned how to when you're just like Black and poor and you're having to like animate with like Tuckers and Katies who do not understand your experience, but you still want to be a part of the space. Like you just learn what it means to put on a show. Yeah. The facade. The facade.
But I mean, in doing that, did you find it challenging more amongst like your peers in like a school environment, or was it more of a challenge, kind of like proving yourself and being comfortable within like a family environment?
Yeah, that's a really good question, John. Like it was two things. It was like I was this person at school. I was this like likable, fun-loving theater kid who was like involved in so much stuff with a cheerleader. And then at home, my mom was a single mom. She really struggled with depression. There was 4 of us at home, 3 of us at the time.
It's a lot to take care of.
It was a lot to take care of, and I think she grew up poor and black too. But the way that I grew up and was starting to become socialized in these like very white, upwardly mobile spaces, there was certainly a wedge between us in some ways, and she thought maybe I was, don't think you're one of these white kids, or, you have to be a little bit better than everyone else, like, what's up? And a lot of that was really helpful, but some of it was like, I'm exhausted. Like, I've been performing all day, every day at school, and when I get home, like, can I get a hug? Can I get like
Can I just be your son?
Can I just, right. It was very that. And she's a wonderful person and a wonderful parent, but it was really challenging navigating both of those spaces.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got to New York, and I started really wanting to like do art in a meaningful way, I had to like reconcile those two. Okay. Because I couldn't be separation of church and state anymore. Like, it didn't serve me very well. It kind of split my emotional energy. Yeah. And that took away from my art production. And so really CHAV is born out of those two spaces, and like this is what it is.
Amazing. I love that. I find that it's almost a common thread with almost everyone I've been talking to, that there was that kind of separation between family and what they were experiencing outside of it. Yeah. But at the same time, there was like a balance that everyone found within themselves in that. So that's always actually nice to hear. And in that, I mean, it's a lot of tough skin building.
Oh my God, yeah.
You're building up, like, I feel like in a lot of ways, queer people are they grow their strengths a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Because we have no choice.
Ooh, come on now. Come on, Pastor John. No, that's facts.
It's just true. It's like there's a lot of things that straight people don't necessarily have to go through at such a young age, whereas we just have no choice.
Yeah, we have no choice.
And no one's teaching us how to. It's kind of, we're navigating it and figuring it out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that, like, there's no like map, there's no like blueprint at all, and I think that like, being in the space I am now, like really starting to release my first music into the world, being on tour with Dorian, and meeting so many of these young queer kids. Yeah. They are like so thirsty to see themselves in the things that they consume. Like it's really quite like I had a full conversation with my friend Sarah before you got here today about like there's like new little fans who like message me and they're just so excited to see me animate my femininity in this way or my masculinity in this way. They just feel so seen, and I think that like in some ways I hope to give them a little bit more
peace of mind,
more education than I had. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because it's very much the objective.
What I'm hoping is that it's becoming a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
Because if I had the amount of just like queer
references,
visibility that we're getting nowadays, I feel like it would have been such a difference for me growing up. Because we didn't have too much to look up to. But it's nice to know that despite all the good and the bad, we still find ourselves as these beings willing to put ourselves out there. And the ways that you're doing it, the way I'm doing it, the way everyone knows.
It's so nuanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that, like, I still am very much a work in progress. Like, I feel like I play a character that is very sure and, like, doing the fantasy. But I hope that people read in the context of, like, me on Instagram or me in some of these songs and my lyricism where, like, I'm still very much figuring this out. Like, I still feel wildly embarrassed sometimes about my femininity. I feel wildly embarrassed sometimes about the way that I animate myself because I have been stewing in a solution of heteronormativity for the last, 30-some years. And I'm still learning,
Yeah. But that's perfectly fine. Yeah. And that shows vulnerability, and and like I said, like no one, I don't think anyone wants to relate to someone who's like perfect and knows exactly what they're doing.
Right.
So it's kind of nice to hear that, like, listen, we're all just out here
Facts are facts.
Yeah. So what led you, I mean, you like you said, you've always been a creative.
Yeah.
You've always been embracing that part of yourself and exploring. What kind of led you to pursuing this artist project the way that you're doing it now?
Oh my gosh, it's like so many things. Like I am a multimedia artist. Like I really like all the things, the visuals, the performance of self, the performance of the live show, the music, you know, like when you meet me, like what do I smell like?
Yeah.
There was this moment like Dorian was telling me about like the first time they met Charlie, and they like, you know, it was like kind of a cool moment for them, and they remember so much of that moment. They remember what Charlie smelled like, and so I always think about like, oh my god, like that is such a real thing. And I'm like, okay, what do I smell like? I'm trying all these fragrances.
You want the scent, you want the sight, you want
I want the whole experience. And I really love that about art. Like I love. Because art is language to me. Like you can use this color to express this thing. You can use this color to express this thing. You mix those colors together, then you have like a nuanced experience. And to me, like I did so many type of things. You know, I started my career as like a conceptual artist, doing like installations that were like experiences. You walk through the space. I had some sculptures. Like some of these are from my first exhibition.
Amazing.
And then like I realized that like, oh my god, like I feel like I could do all the things I want to do, just being a pop persona. You look in my space right now, you're not here, those of you listening, but like I have a ton of like calendars.
So I'm gonna paint the picture for them. You on your wall, you have this huge piece of paper, and written is in structured sections. TV people, CHAV, pop project, action items, and everything is listed as a to-do list.
It's pretty neurotic.
And it's not just like a little 1, 2, it's like legit filled out to the every inch of this paper is filled out.
Me and my partner Rick Marcello, who's also like my creative partner, my manager, even though we're trying to find another manager for me as well. And then also like my creative coordinator and also who's now my day-to-day manager, Liz, we have so many ideas of how we want to do this project. You know, I'm getting ready to release my first full-length like project. It's like 8 songs. It's coming out in, I think it's May.
Summertime?
Summertime.
Okay.
And then like, you know, we're just starting to think about like, okay, cool, maybe I want to do like some additional summer releases that are like very summer bops, and like how can I build campaigns around all of these things? Like what does it mean for me to like, you know, create like a sensory environment? Like I'm going to be playing all these pride shows. What am I wearing? What designers do I want to be like working with? Like who's sustainable? Like there's a lot of moving parts, you know, including like the logistical things of like getting the tracks prepared and ready for live shows, you know. And I'm still learning so much in real time. So these lists and like spreadsheets are like very much at the aid of like making sure that we don't miss the things that I want to do, because I feel like my artistry is really about I'm a brand. I like my background is brand strategy. I worked for a company in Chicago for like 6 years called the Plum Tree Group. They were like a web agency, and I was on the brand side, experiential marketing, and I'm wildly interested in building really complex, developed brand strategies. Like I'm wildly interested in it. And even if I wasn't a pop artist, I would be interested in that space. And so I really do try to apply it to the pop project.
And it's, I've been talking to this almost with everyone. I was like, it really is important, especially nowadays, to not just have the foundation, which is the music, because that's what people sometimes are consuming first, but it only makes it all the better when the accompaniment of that, as far as visuals, as far as the album art, as far as how everything else is being presented is so much important as well, just because you need to deliver a fully realized package.
Well, that's what's really cool about the way you approach this space. Like, I mean, having a playlist and then also having your own personal playlist outside of that. And you do it different than anyone I know. It's just like creating a whole fucking vibe for the playlist.
Well, like you said, brand strategy.
Bitch!
Listen, I have a brand as well.
Okay?
Listen.
Let them know. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes and Spotify.
But no, that's not what, a lot of people don't have that in their back pocket. So the fact that you have that already and you are well knowledgeable in those skills, that's only going to help you.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want it to be a secret, like, how do they do that? Like, what is in the sauce? Like, you know, I know that in the next few years, my career is going to look wildly different.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to, like, pretend like it is not work and that it doesn't take a very thoughtful mind. And I try to share that with a lot of people that I meet. Like, I try to, you know, I'm working on a project right now, which is maybe premature to even talk about, but like an exhibition in which you walk through a space and you kind of get a little bit of how I approach like conception of an idea to execution to how do we continue to grow that place. Mm-hmm. And I want people to know that, especially queer POC artists who don't have a lot of, you know, you can't go to school for this.
No, a lot of the times these artists are doing everything by themselves. Mm-hmm. And no one is helping them, and like I said, like they don't have that back pocket. So a lot of times I'm asking lots of questions and maybe looking up into it. Like it's something no one teaches you how to do.
Yeah. No one.
No one teaches you how to do
this. Okay.
There's no rule book, and you don't know how it's going to be perceived either. Mm-hmm. So it's like that's that whole other thing. But it sounds like you have a fully realized idea of how you want the visual accompaniment to like partner with the music. Yeah, I mean, I try really hard to. I also can't be afraid to pivot. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like, you know, even when you think of like anytime a pop artist adds something to the lexicon of pop culture, that changes the sauce of your formula. Mm-hmm. You know, Gaga putting out Stupid Love completely changes the minds and what people are primed to receive. Yes. And so when you have that additional knowledge, you have to not be afraid to like pivot some things that you were thinking you wanted to do. Yeah. And now, when you first started, I mean, you have about 3 songs out now. Yeah. Patient Zero, London Baby, and Kicking on the Floor. Yeah. Look at you. Yeah, I know. I love all 3. I do have a little bit of a hard on for London Baby more. I love that. Can you tell me what do you feel? There's something like there's like these certain textures in your voice that I think are not necessarily showcased as much in the 2 other ones. Yeah. Where it's just like I feel like you're really showcasing a different side of your voice that is just so like effortless. It feels like really like beautiful. And paired with like the production, it's like a really nice magic moment. Oh, yeah, I love it. Thank you. It's so good. Thank you. And honestly, I think I said this in my review for when I put it on the Queer Necessities playlist, but it kind of you gave me like early early Pharrell vibes. I was like. My producer Brad Castro would be very happy to hear that. No, yeah, but like in the best way. I was like, this is what I wish Pharrell was sounding like now. Yeah. Shout out to Pharrell. No, there was no shade. So I put out 2 singles, just to like try them out and kind of start releasing stuff. Kicking on the Floor and Patient Zero, and then London Baby is like the first official release to the project totally that I'm going to be releasing. Okay. And so it's certainly a vibe change from like Patient Zero or the other track. And I was really nervous about it. And it's also one of my favorite songs that I've ever written because of that place. You know, London Baby is like, and the chorus is like, I'll meet you in London, baby, when I'm through with LA. You know, it's really about this place of like, so much in my life and in my career, I felt like I had to compromise with people. I felt like people saw the things in me that they liked and they ignored the rest, leaving me like very incomplete, you know, in some ways. And London Baby is a song for me that's like, I'm like letting the things go. Like I'm letting people go who don't serve me well. I'm listening to my heart and I'm inspired by my own optimism for the future. And that's the vibe I was hoping to communicate in London. And there's a couple other songs on the project that really kind of like speak to that place. I have a song on the project called Bass and Flings, which is like very like similar to that place. It's like just like living in yourself. You know, that moment. The thing that I love about the music I'm making at the moment, it's very much
about your relationship with self. It's like, you know, the Basement Flings, the song I was just mentioning, it's like a song that's like, yo, like, when you are feeling the most comfortable in yourself, you're at that party, you're the right amount of drunk, or you didn't drink tonight, but you feel just good, and you're just like living in yourself, and you feel safe, you feel hugged by your own movement, you're dancing in that space. Like, I really love that place, you know, and I really know it's hard for a lot of queer people, a lot of POC people to get there. Yeah. And when you get to that moment, it's just so
it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Like an unstoppable feeling.
Yes,
You're
totally.
Like, I could do whatever I want.
A bit, and some, you know.
No, that's so beautiful. I love that. No, and I mean, I feel that in listening to London Baby, and I'm excited to hear what else you've got coming. So you said there's like an 8-track
that's a
project coming?
Yeah. So
I mean, 8 tracks is like a solid, like it's basically like an album.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you know, we're always just like really, I'm personally, like, my team doesn't care. They're like, whatever you want to call it, you can call it whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I'm always scared to like call things an album because it's like, oh, this is an album.
Yeah, because there's like that extra
whole thing.
Yeah.
And then like an EP just doesn't feel like it's like I'm putting like some energy and some time to curate these 8 songs. You know, it feels a little bit more considerable than an EP.
Yeah.
Not the Shade EPs. But I for this project I worked with largely my producer Brett Castro.
Okay.
Is so amazing. He's like an amazing producer on his own, and he has his own music project as well. But like us together is just like a whole other thing. Yeah. You know, like I work with a lot of people. I work with just a lot of other people, and it was funny when I started doing this project, Totally, which is the name of the project. You know, I was really wanting it to be like very saturated pop, like sugar, you know, like anthemic as like hitting on the floor. You know, I had just been on like I was on the Dorian tour when me and Brett were really starting to work together, the first Flamboyant tour. And so like I'm obviously very influenced by like PC music and like just like that sugary Kim Petras, The Gig. You know, and I was hoping and thinking that my first project would be kind of live in that space. I was hoping for it. I'm like, yo. But being with Brett, it just like, he just has a very soulful approach to his work, and he's just like, but Chavez, like, your voice wants to do that. Like, so...
Stop fighting it.
Stop fighting it. You're gonna make London Baby, bro. We're making London Baby. So, working with him has been like a whole other, like, experience for me. Like, just like getting closer to, like, who I want to be as an artist. These are my first baby steps.
Yeah. But that's nice that you found someone who's willing to challenge you a bit and also bring out the best in you is what I think is happening. At least the way you're talking about it. And how does like the process of formulating a song with you two start? Like, is it you're bringing in the ideas as far as like lyrics, themes, and or whatever? Like, how does it go?
Yeah, well, there's so many different ways. I approach songs and in general, and I work with like a lot of other people as well, but Brett specifically for Totally. It starts a lot of different ways. First of all, like having conversations like this, you start recognizing themes in your life. You start like I have so many wonderful collaborators and friends who challenges me and asks me questions about how I'm animating this life. There's no blueprint. Sean, what are you doing over there? What's working? What do you feel is failing? You know, and you know, I start thinking about like what are some common themes that I'm experiencing? What are some feelings that I can't escape even if I try to close that door? And then I really start crafting. Sometimes I craft a poem. In the early days of writing music, I would write a poem, and that poem just like I would like speed it up and give it a cadence, and it'd be like a rap, and then I would just add like the poppy chords to it. And now it's sometimes with Brett, like Brett might have like this banging ass beat. He's like, yo, like I have this thing. Me and my, you know, his manager, who is amazing, his name is Vinny. They sometimes like jam together, and they like were jamming on a little beat, and then they played it for me, and I was like, yo, what's up? I don't want to brag, but I am something new. I'm like waiting for the FBI to put me in the zoo. I said no to the Illuminati, I got shit to do. New pop is politics, and yep, I got plenty moves. When you just like feel that gig. Yeah. So sometimes, it really comes all types of ways. It's all kind of like based on themes in my life and the themes of the lives of the people that surround me.
Yeah.
And then there's also like sometimes I need a goddamn break, and I will write a song just to give myself a break from the gig.
I mean, that sound right there, it sounded so much fun. The fact that it's happening just based off you hearing something.
Yeah.
You're like going for it. I love that. And it sounds like you found people to help to do that with, and now you have like this product that's soon to be released. And you also like are, like I said, we were talking about this before, like you are a visual person.
Yeah.
So is like that part of this project exciting for you too?
Yeah, it's like really exciting. It's like, I've been waiting for this moment in my career to be able to work with like designers or work with like choreographers and finally I'm kind of starting to, even on this board, which we're starting to get to that point where like I'm like talking about like, okay, what do I want to look like for these shows?
Yeah.
Like what are the what's projected behind me, and like what's the vibe of like all the social channels, and I fucking stand it. I love that moment. I think sometimes it's really challenging because like there's so many things, and sometimes I wish I could just have like just be that for myself for a second. Luckily, I have like really great, great teams who help me. Like Liz and Rick are like amazing. They really help me a lot. And then also like the people I do press with a lot, and the people who have supported my work. Michael of Michael, like have been very amazing and amazing for my career. And they give me opportunities to be like, yo, like let me do a feature in your thing to showcase this art that you made in your single work as like something, you know, and like it's just really special to me. And I also like really, all my single art, I work with like a different, like I like to work with a lot of different artists, and a lot of different mediums, and that's always really exciting to me. Like we were just talking before we got on air. I worked on the Patient Zero art with Brian Wood.
Shout out to Brian.
Shout out to Brian.
Love you.
Shout out to his makeup too. No, but Brian Wu, man, like is one of my favorite people in New York. One of my favorite collaborators, and just like he is really, really wonderful. And he was one of the first photographers that I like really built a relationship with.
His work is amazing.
Yeah.
He knows how to take something that, if you could generalize it and want to put it in a simple form, you could see it at just that. But he takes it to such the next level every single time.
Bars.
Where it's like, you didn't know it could go there.
Literally.
And it's colorful, it's beautifully queer most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's all the things.
And it's, also like for Brian and I, we shot, we had our first photo shoot maybe like 4 years ago. And I was like going in between Paris and New York at the time, which was crazy. But I remember working with him, and it's so funny because right now I'm gearing up for like working on the album art. And it's so busy. Like Brian, watching his career grow as well as mine, we've kind of come up together in all the ways. He's like working with Kim and like,
amazing.
Like slaying it. Like slaying with the kids. And like I'm actually like using a photo from our first photo shoot ever as like the album art as an homage to just like the journey of like making.
I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see it. Me too.
No, but he's amazing. And that's like another nice thing. It's like what I also noticed, like it's like queer creatives coming together, wanting to uplift each other, wanting to try new things, experiment, throw a wrench into like ideas, and just fuck around.
I mean, I think that like I always am just like, yo, like I am not too cool to like work with people. Like I think that sometimes in like music and like being in the art spaces that sometimes people are like so cool, like too cool to like even like have the hangs or the chats or throw things at the wall. And I feel like I hope for like when people interact with me that I'm like, yo, like let's kiki, girl. Like, are you about to like make a thing or not? Like, and I'm just like, I want that vibe for the queer, like queer art community. you know, like in general, like it's hard enough to be out here by us, you know, individually, you know, as islands. And, you know, I know that queer culture is being commodified a lot in the media at the moment. And, you know, sometimes it can feel like, okay, is there too many of us? And the T is like, no, there's not. There's not. And there's always room for more. And get over here.
Yeah.
Like,
if anything, I was like, there just needs to be more.
There needs to be more.
And it feels now that there's kind of like this, like, I feel like it's like the Avengers is happening right now.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, I have an alarm to text my little sister. I'm sorry.
I feel like the queer community is like it's like the Avengers are all coming together and like we're all like getting ready for like to like not
light it up.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the full T. Like Jon is in here, you know, Matthew Dean Stewart is in this bitch.
Matthew Dean Stewart is a wonderful photographer. He shoots all the videos and helps me with the sound and takes all the beautiful pictures that we do. So shout out to Matthew Dean Stewart. I hate you so much.
But it's really cool. I mean, because like it's so easy for people to feel too cool or whatever. But like being able to like. I mean, I know y'all from New York, and like,
and here we are
now. Like, it's so wonderful, and it feels comforting, you know. And as I've been on tour with Dorian, and like, we're getting ready to go to Europe for a month-long tour.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and like, but going to all these fucking cities, we are here.
Yeah.
Like these kids are here.
Yeah.
And waiting and thirsty for it, and it's so comforting.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I got to see you guys do the first round of the fan tour. And I went to the New York show, I swear. And
our first show, which was our first show.
The first one, yeah. And that shit was bonkers. Like, I had an idea of how it might go, and then I was like, nope, that wasn't the idea. I was like, oh my god. I like, didn't know. Like, I live for Dorian. Dorian is doing things that literally no one else is doing.
It's a whole other level.
It's a different level. Amazing, amazing, amazing. The fantasy is it's like redefining the word fantasy.
Oh my gosh.
And I love everything that Dorian is doing. Shout out to Dorian. But no, that show is so much fun.
You know, I mean, big shout out to Dorian Electra. Like, they are, like, seriously, even if I wasn't friends with them or, you know, working, like, dancing for them and also performing at their after parties, I would be a genuine fan. It's really such a cool universe to play in. And like going to all these cities and, you know, like, it's so interesting because, you know, Dorian is like animating themselves however they want to. You know, like they're kind of showing the spectrum of, you know, what is
just being like
being a human.
Fucking with the gender norms. Like making people think so much more than they probably ever would be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you pair that with like me as their backup dancer and then Baby Angel 69.
Oh yeah. Shout out to also Baby Angel.
69.
I love those booty pics.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like, you know, me and Baby, like, as like, you know, for some of the shows we backup dance for Dorian for the shows, and then like we have a lot of after parties.
Yes.
And then me and Baby, who are also, we're just like our own pop artists.
Yes.
And we perform at those, which we have a New York show coming up, so you have to come to. You're like, I'm out. Yeah, so it's really cool because like, you know, me and Baby have a complete different way that we approach the choreography.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, when I go to stage, I'm giving you fantasy. I'm giving you film. I'm looking at the audience. I'm giving the whole tea. And then Baby's kind of like very grown, very sexy. He's very
little mouth pout.
Little mouth pout. He loves a mouth pout. But it's really fun, I feel like, for the kids who come to the show and the folks who come to the show to see, like, on that stage, 3 bodies who are animating their gender expression in such very radical ways. It becomes like such a fucking, it's a punk show.
Yeah, it's so
like Dorian's show is a fucking punk show.
Totally
it's so rock.
Yeah. No, and the energy, everyone is feeding off of it in that room. Like, at some point, Dorian is like floating around the audience, and like I'm like, oh my god, what's happening?
Just so you know, I'm stressed every time.
I'm stressed.
they crack me up because like they are just so committed to their fans, and like we'll be in like kind of a smaller city where like it's a sold out show, but it's just like, you know, it's maybe 300 kids, you know, it's like it's a smaller room. And like, you know, they'll be like, okay, but like, I'm not going to do it tonight. You know, we have a show tomorrow. I'm not going to crowd surf tonight. And then like, they'll like,
just go.
They'll see the look in these kids' eyes and it's like, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm going to do it. And so it's LOL. It's a good time. Like,
and I was talking to Dorian, I was like, you're going to some of these cities where like you said, sometimes it's going to be a smaller crowd.
Yeah.
And, you know, but like you're providing, it's more work than just promoting the work that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm putting this out there in places that not necessarily, don't have these type of communities.
They're providing
like Brooklyn
space.
does, like LA does. Like it's a so much smaller community, and they're going to like. Yeah.
I've learned so much about the way that they approach their touring. Like they are going to these places that aren't these, you know, metro poles as LA, New York, Chicago, and like they're bringing in this whole radical idea, you know, in their music and in their expression, and then like they do like small little details. Like they have all the doors. They'll put a sign up that say non-gendered restrooms. Like there's a million things that are going on in a show, like from the sound to the look, the makeup. There's so many things, and they're like, okay, make sure that all of these doors say gender neutral.
Yeah.
Like that's a radical thing to be like, yo, that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And I think that like feeling in that space and just like that sense of openness and feeling like you can truly be safe. We were talking about a song that I have that kind of lives, like talks about that space. It really is so important for these people who come to the show.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's influenced just everything that you're doing.
Oh my gosh.
Being able to see it, be on the road, and I can only imagine you want to be doing it for yourself. Yeah,
I mean, Dorian is really great because like we're performing at the after parties a lot,
right.
And they're big after parties. These are not like bitch ass.
These kids are ready.
These kids are ready. they're big. They're as big as the main show.
Yeah.
And it really is amazing. Like they give such amazing opportunities to, you know, people that they've been working with for years and years. Like I meet like. I was just chatting with their current tour manager, Becca, and you know, and Becca was just like, yo, like I was friends with Dorian, you know, back in the day. Like they were like I knew them through Mood Killer, and like you know, and they've just continuously kept tabs on one another, and like now they're in this place of like leveling up, and now they're managing the tour to be like, oh yeah, let's grow up together. You know, I was just texting with them the other day. I'm getting ready to do a Pride Festival, which is not fully confirmed, but like it's a really cool one. It's a bigger one, and I know that they did it last year. And I texted them. I was like, "Yo, what's the vibe?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yes, do that." It's so cool having like just like they're like my big brother in so many ways. They're just like it's so cool to have someone to go to.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Love Dorian.
Shout out to Dorian.
Not enough bad. Not too many good things to say.
I'll say one bad thing about Dorian Electra. They're too amazing. I said what I said, John. I said what I said. Okay.
But it's so exciting. I mean, also just touring. Like you're touring.
Yeah.
That's so much fun. And then you're about to go. You said you're about to go to Europe.
Yeah, we're in Europe for like a month. I mean, like we're, you know, because of so much stuff that's going on in the world.
That's right.
Yeah, and so it's like really, you know, it's really scary, but like, you know, ideally and hopefully, and we're fingers crossed, we're going to be going to tour, and we probably will.
Yeah.
We're doing mad cities in Europe, and we're really, really excited. It's going to be really fun.
So you got the tour coming up, you got this project coming up, like what else?
Yeah, I mean, right now, like June, I'm playing a ton of Pride shows. I think right now we're talking to Miami. I think they have 2 Pride shows.
Yeah. Is it called Windward Pride?
Windward, yeah. So we just started chatting with them about like doing something there. I think I just San Diego Pride. I'm chatting with Chicago Pride. I love, like, obviously I'm faggoty as fuck. So bitch, you gotta book me. Book.
They are ready to hit the stage and slay the thing.
I'm okay. I got looks. Yeah, and I guess it's just like doing the shows, you know, finishing up this tour, releasing the music. I have a ton of cool releases coming out this year, and then hopefully in 2021 fall, like I hope to do like my own like kind of CHAV power tour.
Yeah,
that's like the big goal. So I told you here first.
Hey, you're manifesting it.
I'm saying it right now out loud. It's a goal.
It's gonna be happening. I 100% believe that. I mean, that's exciting. Like, I mean, we got to hear about a little bit about how you got to where you are. We know we got a little bit about what's coming. Go see Dorian Electra on the Fan Tour and go to the after parties. Is there anything else you want to tell the children?
Yeah, and just keep supporting queer content like the one that you're listening to right now. It's like so important that we support this type of work and lift it up to the front of the crowd. We matter, our opinions matter, our viewpoint matters, and supporting work like this is really, really, really important. So continue to do it, like and subscribe wherever you're hearing this video. And I love you.
Yes, and where can they find you on all the social media?
Yeah, like I'm at CHAV, CHAV.pop, P-O-P, and on like all the channels except for Twitter. I think I'm CHAV, CHAV_pop. So
if you didn't get that, I'll make sure to put it.
Go ahead and link them.
I'll put all the links.
And that's it. I hope you are having a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. Can I have a hug?
We're hugging right now. Goodbye, everybody.
Later. See you later.
I'm a fashion hall.